YouTube, it's Faye.
And Brandon.
And for today's video, we have been putting in the work on the Tacoma, so it's about time that we actually enjoy it and take y'all along for a ride as we go to visit one of our absolute favorite places in the great nation of Texas, Big Bend. This is going to be our very last trip prior to adding some forced induction under the hood, which is super crazy to think about, but that's only one of the many upgrades that we have made or are planning to make to this truck over the past couple of years of this build. Now, Brandon and I are no strangers to the great outdoors, nor to Big Bend. In fact, we're avid primitive backpackers and have at least a dozen trips to this beautiful place under our belt, powered by just our own 2, or I guess combined 4 feet, which is a challenge in the desert because of all the water that we have to carry. That being said though, we are new to overlanding, and we have learned a ton since we started this project together. Every trip that we take is an opportunity to improve our setup and our supplies, and so we've come to embrace Toyota's motto of Kaizen, or always improving. So in this video, we're going to walk you through our top 10 favorite improvements or Kaizens that we've made so far as we take you along with us to our favorite place. Now, these are in no particular order, but it only makes sense to start out with our water storage, pump, and filtration system since we do spend a lot of our time out in the desert. Now, typically we would just carry a bunch of random water bottles and crumple them down when we're done with them to save space, but you still end up with a lot of trash and it's not very efficient for storage. Where are you supposed to put them? So we made a huge improvement by installing this large 15-gallon water tank that is strapped into the truck bed. We placed it all the way forward in the bed right behind the cab, and it's sitting as low as possible. This allows us to keep good weight distribution while driving and have access to enough water to shower, cook, clean, and drink for several days without having to refill. Now, we do have a great filtration system built in and even an inline UV filter, which is rated high enough that we could refill our tank from any good natural water source if it's available. This water is accessible right from the back of the truck, which will feed our sink, shower, or any other needs that we may have. But we'll get to those in more detail here shortly. Next up, number 2 on the list is the kitchen. Now this is a huge one for convenience. Our kitchen includes a refrigerator, a 2-burner cooktop, a sink with running water, and a drain, and storage for supplies and a retractable work surface. And this all fits in the truck in one narrow column and can be deployed to fit underneath the awning very quickly. Let's give you a little tour so you can see how everything works. The wind has picked up a little bit, which is really nice because right now it is high noon, almost. Woo, look at that sun beating down on us. So this awning, our little canopy here is, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful for it. We spend a lot of time under here during this time of day.
Oh yeah. And another cool thing is that the kitchen opens up in sort of like this L shape. So not only is that like super efficient if you're moving around, like you have your fridge right here, your drawers and stuff, your surface here, you have cabinet storage, cooking, sink, it's all right here, but it's all also underneath the awning.
Exactly.
So, like today where it's super bright, you don't want to be in the sun cooking. If it's raining, you don't want to be getting wet. Or if you're under trees, like pine trees, you don't want bugs and sap dripping down on you while you're trying to use your kitchen. We have walls up there. We can kind of create like a little apartment for us. So, you know, if it's super windy or, you know, whatever's going on, we can create like a little room. And there's windows and doors. So you still get a view, it's just through some netting. You know, kind of keep the bugs away from you a little bit.
And one of our last times out here, we had a freak storm.
Oh my gosh, it came on strong and hard. We were just standing here and all of a sudden the walls just came crashing in and we had to like, it's a good thing we were ready because we both jumped out and grabbed onto the walls and we're like holding on like, is it a tornado? What's happening?
And last night was insane too. We had a major windstorm come through.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna blow the truck over, man. It was intense. I was looking out like, is there a tornado in Big Bend?
That's what we were looking. Yeah, we were both.
Like,
we didn't say it to each other because we didn't want to freak each other out, but we were both like looking, checking all night. Like, is there a tornado coming? It was so windy. But the tent, I mean, obviously the awning was not out, but the shower was out, and our tent is kind of one big sail up there, and it did fine. It did so fine.
Yeah, very impressive.
Our WEBoost antenna didn't break. Yeah, but you can see how we're definitely in like a little valley here in a channel, so the wind just whipped through. And it was actually pretty warm last night, so I definitely enjoyed the breeze, but whew, it was intense. But yeah, look, you can see now that I'm sort of standing away from it, just how everything that we use sort of sits underneath the footprint of the awning. Brandon actually designed this in CAD. He found the specifications of this exact awning that he knew he wanted, and then built it out, and then designed the kitchen in CAD first around the footprint of the awning. So it was just really cool, really thoughtful. Definitely not your average builder.
Yeah, and then this thing actually packs up pretty easy. These are all push to open. They have a lock inside, which was an improvement that I made. But this all just folds right up. And this is actually just a monopod from Camera Gear.
I love this. It's the three-legged thing.
Yes, it doubles. It has a 130-pound weight capacity.
It could carry me.
It could. And it folds up super tiny. And this is just like a little cheese plate in here. So I can move it if I need the kitchen to tilt a certain way, if the ground is uneven. And this guy.
If we needed a monopod for our camera or something, which we do like to do a lot of photography out here.
Yeah, if you need a good stable point real quick, this is the guy. And
yeah.
It sounds super tiny.
Having
super
things
light.
that serve multi-purposes is definitely helpful for space savings and weight savings.
And this guy can just slide right up inside here, so it just lives inside the little top up here with some other things.
I like the chicken hot pad.
Yeah, chicken hot pad's really nice. Drying rack, that's a major win.
Oh yeah.
Try not to have gear laying in here, and then everything just closes right up.
Oh wait, let me grab the trash bag.
Oh, good idea.
I'm in control of the trash around here, people. I'm not in control of you, honey. No one said that. Ta-da!
Everything's all turned out so we can but yeah, and we can actually monitor from here. This is like a really cool thing, is that we can monitor our water level. We're down to 8.6 gallons. We still have 5 gallons of propane left, so that's 87% of a 20-pound barbecue tank. Yeah, close one. But we can also monitor our battery. And
oh man.
We're actually, right now,
we're not using anything. I mean, the fridge is on. What else is on? Are we charging anything?
Yeah, we're literally fully charged. Our solar panels, we have 4 solar panels on top of the truck, running through an inverter system. I think 3,000 watts.
Yeah.
And right now, the batteries stay topped off. On a sunny day like this, it doesn't draw any power. And it'll tell us like we have more than 10 days left. So we might have overkill on the solar panels, but hey man, if it's a cloudy day, we're still gonna get power. And then we can cycle through. We can check our battery bank temperature. We're 93.6, that's totally fine. This needs to be calibrated, it's not. We are not falling off of a cliff, people. Believe me. We can actually watch for incoming storms through the barograph here.
Well, we should have done that last night.
I can set up alerts for any of this stuff too. So if we get down to a certain water level or propane level, or if we get spike in pressure, like a storm front's rolling in, we can set up alarms and it'll go through here, or you can have it send to your phone because it has its own like Wi-Fi signal.
I also like the regular household outlets just chilling there.
Oh yeah, why not? I like to plug things in at home. That's the way I like it, so I'm gonna do it. And then yeah, just a little simple aux beam switch panel. And here I have some spaces because right now this is our water out and our water in. So here I actually want to do a compressor out with like some quick connect fittings, and I want to potentially do propane. I want to look into it, make sure it's safe, but I think so. As long as you have good fittings, I don't know why not. So we can do propane out, air compressor out, water out, and water in.
This is what we do every single time that we come out here. We don't think about, oh, I should have done that. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I wish I brought that. We're just like, we are always improving.
Yeah.
This is the Kaizen truck build. Every time we're like, how can we make it better? I feel sorry for us the day that we can't think of anything to work on next.
I got a list from this time already. This is the first time kind of deploying this as a system.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. It's super space efficient. This whole little channel here behind that just holds the water purifiers. All the system controls is all on one board. So if you need to access and fix anything, you just pull the kitchen out, climb through the side of the canopy there.
I do that.
And you have access. Well, you're much smaller than me, so it's easy for you. And you're good with electronics. And then here we have just cubbies. The 2 chairs will go here. The shower goes here. And those are big, heavy items, and they pack right in here super tight.
Yeah.
These chairs, if you just toss them in there, are still huge.
They're massive.
They don't compact down.
But we don't want to sacrifice them. They're so comfy. Oh my god.
Yeah. But when you force them into this tiny little box, they don't take up too much room. And they're super easy to pop out.
So comfy!
So we can deploy chairs super quick.
And then you got a
It
little.
wasn't that easy, but that's okay.
Oh, because you got to squish them down.
Yeah,
But
you gotta squish
and
them
then when they're out, you got little cubbies for storage.
Yeah, and then this spot over here is for the ladder for the tent.
Which also we used to just throw in the back there.
Yeah, it would just be bouncing around. So now it just has like a little home. It just slips right in there.
Yeah.
So when we go up to camp, we can pull chairs out, we can pull the ladder out, we can pop the tent up in 2 seconds. Everything's very efficient. And the idea that we want to go for is that everything has its place. So instead of just, and I know we've all done this when we're camping, you just throw things in the back of the truck. When you get there, you're digging through and laying stuff out, and looks like you got a yard sale going on.
Oh yeah, don't look at the front seat right now. All my stuff is.
We got a long ways to go, but we're getting there. Things have places now.
Well, speaking of ladder, you better take that back out because I gotta close down the tent.
Yeah.
Because it is almost time for us to move on to the next adventure.
That's right.
Also, one thing I want to mention about the bed is we have full-size pillows up here that pack down. And this is something that Brandon found, which I thought was awesome. Get out of here, moth. Underneath our fitted sheet, I'll pull this up really quickly, we have a very, very comfy mattress topper. So this is extremely comfortable up here. So we've got this really nice bedding up here, and we always keep it clean. It's really easy to wash. The mattress topper is easy to wash. Everything's just really easy. So we are very comfortable. We are pretty much spared nothing. Oh, when we're out here. Huh, babe?
No.
Look at our shower. It's so cool. Look where we are. It's so beautiful. I don't want to pack up, but we have to pack up. How much time do we have till we gotta go?
-4.
Ah! Okay.
Wow, okay, so we just gave you the grand tour there and covered a few more of our Kaizen. So let's backtrack for just a minute and I'll catch you up on the individual improvements while we watch Brandon cook a full gourmet breakfast out here entirely off-grid. I swear, we eat better on the trail than we ever eat at home. So you heard Brandon mention a place for everything. This is Kaizen number 3. Organization is key when you're working with limited space, and even more so when you're combining that storage space with your entire auxiliary electrical system. Imagine throwing all of your camping gear plus your power inverter, auxiliary batteries, various wiring harnesses, food, water, propane stove, just all in the bed of the truck, and then bombing down some 4x4 or high clearance only roads. You're literally asking for something to catch on fire. And this inspired Brandon to build a stackable, accessible, serviceable system for his batteries and water pump and valve system, which he refers to as his utility tower. Then I designed a 12-volt panel to organize the wiring. All right, pause on caramelizing the onions for just a second here. We all know that process takes way too long anyway, and let's be real, I always walk away and burn the onions. Anyway, let's get to looking at these systems in a little bit more detail. This is the utility tower. Out of necessity, this was one of the first Kaizens that we came up with, actually. We used to have just a single battery in a marine grade box that was borrowed from Brandon's fishing kayak, and that just kind of floated around in the back of the truck. This was before we had the 12-volt panel or anything, and the battery just slid around in the back of the truck and was always in danger of becoming disconnected or shorting out. It also didn't provide us with enough power for the accessories that we wanted to use, so we decided that it was just time to not only go for 2 batteries to increase our storage, but also we needed to put them both into a tool case and attach that straight to the floor. Now the tool cases are stackable, so Brandon was able to put the water pump and filtration system right on top of that, and then one on top of that we have open storage for hoses and quick grab things that we might need. So now everything takes up a small footprint, is easily accessible, disconnectable, serviceable, and in a waterproof container. Okay, now time for the sausage. Man, that looks delicious. Nice work, Brandon. Now let's talk about Kaizen number 4, our solar panels. Adding solar panels was a huge improvement because no longer are we just relying on the Tacoma's starting battery to power our devices, charge our flashlights, or run our refrigerator, which could then potentially deplete the charge to the point of getting yourself stranded out here with no cell signal to call for help. Now let's add in the eggs. Oh my goodness, this is marvelous. Brandon is such a good cook. Even when we had a spare auxiliary battery that started out with a full charge, you're still always in that mindset of expecting it to run out of juice at some point. Now I just get major charge anxiety from my cell phone, so you can imagine how I felt about one pathetic little battery that was supposed to last for days of camping. Super stressful. resourceful. So Brandon added 400-watt solar panels to the top of the rooftop tent. This may seem like overkill for Texas because even on cloudy days, we get more power than we actually need, but we've never found a downside to this. So overall, this is a huge win. Then of course, I organized all the wiring on the 12-volt panel in a way that is accessible and easily serviceable. And I also included accessible charge and jump points for the auxiliary batteries, just in case we ever did need a charge, or for hooking up our air compressor to the batteries. You think breakfast is over? You'd be wrong. Time to make the coffee, starting out with grinding the fresh beans. Just watch this magic. You are about to want to throw away your drip coffee machine at home. All right, speaking of the 12-volt panel, you may have noticed our WEBoost. This is Kaizen number 5. If you aren't familiar with these devices, it's a cell signal booster basically. Now I know what you're thinking, is a WEBoost actually a necessity when you're trying to get off grid and away from society? Well, yes and no. We can keep it off when we want it off, but we find that we're willing to take more risks and go further and on more technical roads and terrain when we know that we could call for help in an emergency, which has only enhanced our experience off-road. And we found that we can get cell signal in places that we never did before, although if there's no signal to boost, then there's really no signal to boost. We've added a mount to our rack and made a holder for the antenna when it's folded down, after seeing reviews of them cracking when being held by the arm. So this is definitely a recommended upgrade for any vehicle going off-grid and over rough terrain with a WEBoost. Kaizen number 6. All right, now that breakfast is over, I suppose I will address the elephant in the room. And the question you're probably asking is, well, since what goes in eventually has to come out, where is the bathroom on the truck? Well, let me show you. I am always in charge of setting up the camp potty, since as the female half of this camping duo, I tend to use it more. Here we have our collapsible shovel, which you can imagine serves many purposes and is also part of our truck toolkit, which I will get to later. And this is a folding camp toilet. That's right. This is actually a fairly enjoyable process for me. I actually enjoy scouting out an area of relative privacy, digging a hole, and then unfolding the camp toilet, and voila! These shrubs provided a good privacy screen from the remote road, not that we saw anyone else when we were out here anyway, and when we're done and ready to move on, we just cover the hole back up with the dirt that I dug up, mark it with a rock and a stick, and of course, we pack out all of our paper. This has been a huge upgrade in terms of comfort, convenience, and cleanliness, and don't forget, we have running water, so yes, we can wash our hands afterwards. And for our 7th Kaizen, would this really be a video for the Powerstop Trail series if we didn't talk about the brakes? Now, if you have watched any of my other videos, especially my Mark III Supra build, or even my builds on All Girls Garage, then you know that I'm a huge proponent of supporting mods first. Overbuild the engine before you bolt on a turbo kit, or in this case, upgrade the brakes, front and rear, before adding a ton of weight to the rig. I have a couple DIY tutorial videos showing the step-by-step brake replacement procedure, and in those videos, I show how even the OE Toyota brake pads, which are very high quality by the way, couldn't handle the extra heat generated by stopping such a heavy load and eventually cracked and started to separate. On our drive out, while we were fully loaded down with every tank completely full, a fridge full of food, and both of us sitting in the cab, we stopped into a weigh station and calculated our total loaded weight. Now we've been extremely thoughtful with every addition that we've made to the truck. We are now sitting at 6,500 pounds, so that additional weight needs to be slowed down somehow. Also, you've seen from our last video on the Tacoma, we're about to put down a lot more power, so the brake upgrade was absolutely essential. Always perform supporting mods first, then add your weight and your power. Kaizen number 8, our shower. Babe, how good did it feel to shower last night?
Oh my god, it was so good.
Oh, it was so good.
We didn't shower the night we came in because we got in at like midnight. We'd just been sitting in the car all day, but last night after hiking all day,
oh yeah.
God, there's nothing better than go to sleep clean.
Yes, it is a luxury. This is probably one of my favorite upgrades. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, it's a little excessive, babe. We don't need a shower. And you proved me so wrong. Will you show us how it works?
Yeah, and also that's one of the things that I'm always like, man, I can't wait to get back home and take a shower after camping.
You're right.
But now I don't have to do that because I can just do it in the moment.
You're so right.
Yeah, this one just this folds up and rolls up real small and packs inside the cab. We got a spot for it. But in here, I also have a base so that you're not showering and just standing in a puddle of mud.
Yes, which is so nice. And it drains.
We can run the water off either to like a collection spot or just off site. And
I got my soap there.
Bamboo slots to stand on top of.
Yeah. Packs up real nice.
Spots for your soap.
Yep, there's
privacy.
Yeah.
You have neighbors, which we do not.
Yeah. Heck no.
And then, yeah, so the water control center over here.
Oh, wait.
Oh, right. Obviously, you're going to want a warm shower. So
Even
With
when
the
it's 100 out?
With the power of propane, we can have a warm shower. And it's all automatic. Once you flip it on, it all just ignites and you can control the temperature and the water flow from there.
What a
Super
good
nice.
find, babe.
And then from here, this is actually kind of cool because we can see where our water level is and our propane level. We just open up our valves for water coming out. We're connected here to the out. And then this should actually just turn the shower on. Everything should ignite. Except for the propane was turned off last night, so we'll turn that on.
Just because they can feel through the video if the water is hot or not. There we go. All right, so it's still purging a little air through the lines, and there we go, full stream. Well, we'll probably want to shower again tonight, Lovey, so
and then,
we shall shut it.
You can watch the water levels go down. So if you're trying to hit like a target, like let's say I want to shower with just a gallon of water. Well, you can have someone else just look at this, or you can look at it on your phone and be like, oh, it's now going down to 9.1, 9.0, and stop when you get there. So if you need to conserve...
It's giving me anxiety.
We have a lot of water.
We do.
Yeah, we're totally fine. But if you were running towards the last of your water, you could monitor it or just skip a shower. I don't know. Who wants to do that?
No one wants to skip a shower around here.
And yeah, we actually have the water flow on that pretty low to kind of conserve water. You can get a lot more flow if you wanted it, but we just kind of cranked it down to sort of be efficient.
Kaizen number 9, the suspension. Now, upgrading the suspension on the Tacoma wasn't only a necessity because the original shocks were completely blown, but we also needed our rig to be capable of holding a lot of weight at all times. So we chose a kit that featured heavy-duty rear leaf springs that are designed to be under a constant heavy load and also give the truck a lift, which allows us to get to places that we couldn't before or weren't allowed to go because we weren't considered a high-clearance vehicle. I feel like this is in the spirit of so many of the other upgrades that we've made to the Tacoma, from the shower to the water storage to the solar panels and so on. This truck build is all about getting us out in nature, further away, and for longer. As many of you may know, Branson and I did meet because of cars, Toyotas in particular. He caught his van on fire and I ended up being his mechanic. It's a pretty funny story actually, but we truly bonded over our love for the outdoors and for nature. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we've been avid primitive backpackers since the beginning of our relationship, and we still absolutely love hiking and backpacking together. The difference between where we began our adventuring, the Pacific Northwest, and here in Texas, is that you are truly limited by how much water you can carry on your back. Out in the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon, we rarely carried more than a water bottle at a time because we filtered from the glacial runoffs to refill our bottles, and we could last for days at a time out in the forest. In West Texas, our backpacking trips could only be as long as the amount of water that we could carry on our backs. So building the Tacoma has allowed us the ability to have a solid base camp from which to launch a new adventure every day. We have been able to go further, explore more, and stay out in nature longer. And probably the best thing about all of this build is that we've been able to combine our unique skill sets to build this truck together, and we get to enjoy it together. Now, being a mechanic and a carpenter who are both fiercely independent, self-reliant, and have an immense love for tools, we would be doing ourselves a major disservice if we didn't include our Overland toolkit as a major Kaizen in this video. So this is number 10. We once got into an awkward bind with an electrical connector coming loose on our inverter due to a little too much movement of gear that didn't have its place just yet, and I ended up making a socket out of a bottle cap to fix it. We're also totally overusing rocks for hammers for our stakes. Now, I feel that our toolkit deserves an entire video of its own, especially since it is ever evolving with every trip that we take, but there are a few things that I think are definitely worth mentioning. First, as you can imagine, even with the WEBoost, there's always a potential to become stuck in a very remote campsite without cell service and miles and miles and miles and miles away from any other humans that could help you. So I will say that our portable power pack jump starter, along with our off-road jack, our onboard air compressor, tire change tools, flashlights, and shovel are probably the most important items that we carry. We also decided that it was a smart move to carry a full-size spare. Since we chose our wheels and tires carefully, not just for looks, but practicality, we knew that with a little modification, a fifth full-size 33-inch tire on a matching wheel would fit perfectly in the stock location. Once we have a few more trips under our belt, and especially if and when we have to put more of our tools to use, we do plan on doing a full toolkit tour featuring all of our hand tools and power tools that we choose to carry as well. So you can be looking forward to that in a future video on my channel. All right, well, that wraps up this trip to Big Bend for now, and I truly hope that you enjoyed this little tour of our truck and our top 10 favorite improvements that we have made since starting this build. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as we enjoyed making it, but more importantly, I hope that this encourages you to start building the rig of your dreams if that's something that sounds like fun to you. We are only beginning this journey, and I'm sure that we're going to go through many changes to our build and many different versions of these different systems. We started many years ago with the most basic base model Tacoma, any person's truck, and we have been through quite a few versions of many of these systems. We tried things that didn't work out. We spent hours and days making proof of concepts that we ended up just completely redoing, and we have stayed up into the wee hours of the morning finishing a part of a project only to wake up a couple hours later to head out onto the trail. We have forgotten essential tools, we have run out of water, we have broken many things, but that is part of creating, learning, and always improving. Our hope is that on every adventure that you take, that you see every setback, every forgotten essential or broken part as an opportunity for improving your build and your process in a way that will make your next trip even better. That instead of letting it get you down, that you create your very own Kaizen list and look forward to creating solutions and improving your design and enjoying the outdoors even more. And with that, I will end this installment of our Powerstop The Trail series because we have another Kaizen to get to. Bigger brakes, more weight, and I think that calls for more power. Until next time, YouTube. Bye.
You're so close. You're so close. There you go. There you go. Oh, just barely out of reach. Just barely. There we go. You want some too, Penelope? Hi, Clemmy. Oh. The Americanos are like in the collies.